I spot the cream envelope instantly, its gold embossing catching the morning light as it peeks out from the stack of bills and flyers in my mailbox. My heart skips. This isn't Madeline's wedding invitation. Autumn leaves crunch under my feet as I hurry back up the walkway to my apartment, clutching the envelope against my chest. The paper feels expensive between my fingers, thick and textured. I settle at my kitchen counter and slide my finger under the seal, careful not to tear it. Inside, I find a collection of cards: the formal invitation, a response card, and a detailed itinerary. My name is printed in elegant calligraphy, Miss Renee Jenkins. I smile, running my finger over the letters before turning to the weekend schedule. The smile freezes on my face. I flip through the cards again, slower this time. There must be a mistake. But there isn't. I'm listed as a regular guest. Not a bridesmaid, not maid of honor. Just a guest. Like Madeline's college roommate or Dad's business associates. A cold weight settles in my stomach as I scan the itinerary. Professional photography at 2 p.m. Bride with parents, groom with parents, bride and groom with groom's family, bride and groom with bride's family, parents and brother Noah. Noah. My younger brother's included. I am not. Just 3 months ago, Madeline and I had wine on my balcony, and she gushed about her plans. We'll have to find you the perfect bridesmaid dress, she'd said, squeezing my hand. Sisters forever, right? Sisters forever. The words echo in my head, bitter now. My mind drifts back to our childhood bedroom twin beds, with matching floral comforters, glow-in-the-dark stars on the ceiling. During those nights when Dad's voice boomed through the walls and Mom's tearful replies followed, Madeline would crawl into my bed. We'd huddle together, whispering secrets and dreams until the house grew quiet. I'll always protect you, she promised once, her small hand finding mine in the darkness. And she did. When Tommy Miller pointed at my face in 4th grade and loudly asked what was wrong with me, Madeline stepped between us. Nothing's wrong with her, she'd said, chin raised. God just loved her enough to give her an extra brushstroke. He was more careful with her than with the rest of us. The memory stings as I stare at the invitation. What happened to the sister who once defended my birthmark as a mark of divine favor? I reach for my phone, scrolling to Madeline's name. My hands are shaking as I press call, rehearsing calm, reasonable questions in my head. Renee, hi. Her voice sounds guarded when she answers, lacking its usual warmth. Hey, Maddie, I just got the wedding invitation. I pause, giving her a chance to jump in with an explanation. She doesn't. I noticed I'm not listed in the wedding party or family photos. The silence stretches between us, heavy and uncomfortable. Right, about that. She hesitates. I hear a murmur in the background, Jake's voice, though I can't make out his words. We decided to keep the wedding party small. Noah's a groomsman, I say, my voice steady despite the hurt churning inside me. Jake wanted him. They've gotten close, with the golf lessons. I thought I'd be standing with you. You said sisters forever when we talked about your wedding. Another pause. Longer this time. When Madeline speaks again, her voice has dropped to nearly a whisper. Renee, please understand. We're going for a really soft, minimalist aesthetic. And your birthmark might kind of stand out. The words hit like a physical blow. My free hand moves instinctively to my left cheek, fingers tracing the edges of the port wine stain that covers a third of my face. In the photos, she adds, as if that makes it better, Jake's family is very particular about appearances. I end the call without answering and drive to my parents' house in a daze. The familiar kitchen, with its faded yellow curtains and the scent of Mom's cinnamon tea, has always been a refuge. Today, it feels like walking into a trap. You spoke to Madeline? Mom asked the moment I step inside, her expression carefully neutral. I nod, settling at the kitchen table. Did you know? Mom busies herself with the kettle. Dad lowers his newspaper just enough to glance at me over the top. You know how important appearances are to the Thompsons, he says with a dismissive wave of his hand. Jake's father is on the hospital board with half the town's elite. So you agree with her? The betrayal cuts deeper now, expanding beyond Madeline. Mom sets a mug of tea in front of me, not meeting my eyes. Sometimes we have to accept what's best for the event, not for ourselves. The tea steams between us, untouched. I stare at my mother, this woman who taught me to stand tall, who once told me my birthmark was a beauty marno, suggesting I should accept being erased from my own sister's wedding photos. I leave without drinking the tea, without another word. In my car, parked at the end of their driveway where they can't see me from the house, I finally let the tears come. They slide hot down my cheeks, both cheeks, the marked and unmarked skin equally wet with grief. What would you do if your most trusted family member asked you to hide a part of yourself for their perfect day? The question echoes in my mind as I drive away, already knowing my answer will change everything about this family forever. The Pinterest notification pops up on my phone. Madeline Jenkins has added you to Dream Wedding. I shouldn't look, but curiosity pulls me in like a tide. I freeze at a board titled Flawless Family Photos, filled with portraits of perfectly matched families in cream and blush tones. Every face unblemished, every smile symmetrical. Not a single visible difference among them. My phone buzzes with a text from Emma, one of Madeline's bridesmaids. Just finished another makeup trial. Your sister is obsessed with everything looking perfect. The makeup artist said she's been asked about coverage options for imperfections 3 times now. You okay? I set the phone down, fingers suddenly numb. Coverage options. The words echo as I walk to the bathroom and stand before the mirror, examining the port wine stain that covers my left cheek. In certain light, it almost glows a rich burgundy against my olive skin. The memory surfaces unbidden. Madeline at 12, me at 9, walking home from school. Tommy Miller pointing at my face, sneering, "What's wrong with her?" And Madeline, small but fierce, stepping between us. Nothing's wrong with her. God just loved her enough to give her an extra brush stroke. He was more careful with her than with the rest of us. My phone rings, interrupting the memory. It's Mom. I let it go to voicemail but listen when the notification appears. Linda, I don't know what to do. Mom's voice, not intended for me. She must have accidentally called while talking to Aunt Linda. We've always tried to work around Renee's situation. School photos, family portraits, but a wedding is different. Jake's family is very prominent, and Madeline deserves her perfect day without complications. I hang up, handshaking. Complications? Is that what I am to them? My email pings. The wedding photographer's name appears in my inbox. Dear Miss Jenkins, your sister provided your contact information regarding the upcoming celebration. She mentioned you might require special accommodation for the family photos. I'd like to discuss lighting and positioning options that would help minimize any areas of concern. I delete it without finishing. Accommodation. Minimize. Concern. The sanitized language of shame. Looking back in the mirror, I really look. My birthmark isn't just part of my face, it's mapped the geography of my life. It's determined where I stand in rooms, how I turn my head in conversations, which side faces the camera. Your birthmark is like a brushstroke from God, it makes you unique, Madeline once said, defending me. Now she suggests heavy makeup coverage options through surrogates and excludes me from her wedding party. I touch my face, tracing the birthmark's outline with my fingertips. This is me, I whisper to my reflection. All of me. My phone rings again. Aunt Linda this time, not a misdial. I heard what happened, she says without preamble. It's not right, Renee. Her words land like a balm on raw skin. Finally, someone in my family seeing the injury for what it is. After we hang up, Emma arrives with wine and fierce loyalty. Your sister is being horrible, she announces, pouring generous glasses. And your parents are enabling it. Later that night, Marcus from work calls, having heard fragments of the story. My family didn't come to my wedding because my husband is black, he tells me. Sometimes the family you're born into isn't the family that deserves you. His words stay with me as I search my closet the next morning, looking for an old photo album. I find it under a stack of winter sweaters, sir, childhood, captured in fading Polaroids. There it is on page 12. Madeline and me in plastic tiaras, draped in Mom's old scarves as royal robes. I'm 7, my birthmark vivid against my smiling face. Madeline is 10, her arm thrown protectively around my shoulders. Both of us beaming without reservation. I carefully remove the photo and find a silver frame in my desk drawer. It fits perfectly. Then I sit with a notepad, drafting and redrafting a message to accompany it. 2 hours and a dozen attempts later, I have the words, "Thank you for helping me realize not everyone who calls you family actually sees you as part of the picture." I wrap the framed photo carefully, slide it into a small box with my note, and add the response card marked, "Will not attend," where it asks for my RSVP. My hand shakes as I seal the envelope, but my resolve doesn't waver. The package feels impossibly heavy as I walk to the mailbox at the corner. I stand there a moment, my hand resting on the blue metal lip. Dropping this in means no reconciliation, no last-minute change of heart. I release the package into the darkness of the mailbox. The metal door clangs shut with surprising finality. Walking home, I expect regret to follow me like a shadow. Instead, I feel something else entirely, something that takes several blocks to identify. Relief. For the first time in 30 years, I've stopped accommodating the discomfort my face causes others. I stopped making myself smaller, less visible, less present. The autumn wind brushes against both cheeks, the marked and unmarked skin equally caressed by the evening air. I turn my face fully into the breeze, hiding nothing. The church bells chime across town as I sit cross-legged on my living room floor, my laptop open to a mindfulness meditation video. Right now, Madeline is walking down the aisle in her custom Vera Wang dress, arm-linked with Dad's. My phone buzzes again, the 5th time in 30 minutes. "Cousin Rachel, everyone's asking where you are. Are you sick?" "Aunt Linda, are you okay, sweetheart? I understand if you couldn't come." "Uncle Robert, your absence is noticed. Hope you're not ill." I set the phone face down without responding. What would I say? "Sorry, couldn't make it. My face doesn't match the wedding aesthetic." Instead of dwelling on what's happening across town, I follow my carefully planned day. The lavender-scented bath soothes muscles I didn't realize were tense. The face mask, ironically, one that promises flawless skin, makes me smile as I apply it evenly across both cheeks. What surprises me most is the peace settling over me like a soft blanket. There's no regret clouding my mind, no second-guessing my decision. The relief is almost dizzying. After my bath, wrapped in my softest robe, I find myself pulling the old photo album from the bookshelf. Inside are the remnants of a childhood that suddenly seems 4 and 2 sisters with matching grins, arms wrapped around each other as if nothing could ever separate them. There's the Christmas when Madeline gave me half her candy because a relative had forgotten my stocking. There we are at the beach, 16 and 13, sunburned and laughing, my birthmark clearly visible because I'd sweated off the makeup Mom insisted I wear. The realization hits me like a physical blow. I've been silent about my pain for decades. Every time Mom suggested I do something about my face, every time Dad positioned me at the back of family photos, I smiled and nodded and turned the other cheek, the unmarked one, toward the world. No more. I reach for my phone with sudden resolution. Opening the camera, I position myself near the window where the afternoon light streams in. No filter, no strategic angle, no makeup, just me, birthmark and all. My thumb hovers over the capture button. 3 deep breaths, and I press it. The caption takes me 4 attempts. Too angry, too bitter, too apologetic. Finally, I type. "It's okay. I don't need to be in the picture. I just thought I was part of the family." My finger trembles as it hovers over share. 1 click, and this private pain becomes public. I press it. Within minutes, the notifications begin. Heart emojis from close friends. Supportive comments from coworkers. Then something unexpected, a share from someone I don't know, with the caption, "This touched my soul." How many of us had been erased from our own family stories? By morning, I wake to thousands of notifications. 10,000 likes, shares in the thousands, comments numbering in the hundreds. As I scroll, disbelief mounting, I see that my small moment of truth has erupted into something far beyond my control. News sites have picked up the story. Wedding rejection goes viral. Strangers are sharing their own stories of family exclusion in the comments. I have vitiligo, and my cousin asked me not to be in her wedding photos. I never told anyone how much it hurt until seeing your post. My daughter has a facial scar from an accident. She's only 8 and already learning to hide. Thank you for showing her another way. 3 different news stations have sent interview requests. A facial difference advocacy organization has reached out asking if I'd consider becoming a spokesperson. My private pain has become a public conversation. The first call comes from Mom at 7:43 a.m., followed by 3 more in quick succession. I let them all go to voicemail. When I finally listen, her voice progresses from confusion to anger to tearful pleading. Renee, what have you done? Everyone is calling us. The second message is higher pitched. The Thompsons are asking questions. Jake's mother called me. By the third, she's crying. I don't understand why you're doing this to us. We've always protected you, always made sure you felt included despite your condition. Next comes Dad's text, blunt and dismissive. Fix this embarrassment immediately. You've gone too far this time. It's nearly noon when Madeline calls from her honeymoon. I answer this one. My composure hard-won through a morning of deep breathing. How could you? She demands, her voice thick with tears. This was supposed to be the happiest time of my life, and now everyone's talking about your post instead of my wedding. I didn't mention your name or your wedding, I reply, my voice steady despite the tremor in my hands. I shared my truth. Your truth? She spits the words. What about family loyalty, privacy? That's rich coming from you, Maddie. Her voice drops to a whisper. Jake's family saw it. His mother asked if I was ashamed of you. Some of our wedding guests messaged me asking why you weren't there. They said they didn't see you in any of the ceremony photos. Do you have any idea how humiliating that was? I close my eyes, absorbing the revelation. People noticed my absence. They questioned it. I'm sorry you felt humiliated, I say finally. I know how important appearances are to you. After we hang up, I sit in the stillness of my apartment, trying to process what's happening. I never expected this. I'm not an influencer or a public speaker or an activist. I'm just Renee Jenkins, the woman with the birthmark who finally stopped hiding. My phone pings with a new email notification. A producer from Morning America wants me to share my story. What happens when a private family rejection becomes a public conversation? I never expected to become the voice for thousands who felt invisible, but as my trembling fingers reach for the keyboard to respond, I realize my next move will show us all what true courage looks like. The call comes on a Tuesday morning while I'm stirring honey into my tea. The producer's voice is warm, almost reverent. Miss Jenkins, your story has touched so many people. We'd like to invite you to share it on Morning Conversations with America. My spoon clatters against porcelain. The show reaches millions, mostly women over 50, who send prayer chains and vote in every election. Women like my mother. I spend hours considering whether to accept. This isn't about revenge. It's about the thousands of comments from people with visible differences who've endured similar rejections. Their stories haunt and deserve to be acknowledged. I'll do it, I tell the producer when she calls back. But I want to focus on acceptance, not my specific family situation. She agrees immediately. That's exactly why we chose you, Renee. Your dignity speaks volumes. Dad's call comes that night, his voice carrying that false casual tone that always precedes a threat. This family business needs to stay private, he says without preamble. Your grandfather left the lake house to me, and I determine who inherits it. Remember that before you go embarrassing us on national television. Within hours, Mom appears at my door, uninvited. Sweetheart, she says, slipping past me into the apartment. Her perfume, the same lily scent she's worn since childhood, fills my entryway. Family matters should stay private. That's how we were raised. You're only worried about privacy now that people are seeing the truth. I counter. She sighs. Jake's family is mortified. His father sits on boards with people who watch that show. Jake himself calls Nexus lawyer voice in full effect. Public disparagement has legal consequences, he says. I'm asking you, as family, to reconsider. Just before bed, my phone dings with a text from Noah. I should have said something at the wedding. No apology, no commitment to do better. Just an acknowledgement that comes too late. The studio lights are warmer than I expected. The makeup artist worked carefully around my birthmark, enhancing my features without trying to conceal what makes me different. Catherine Mills, the host, leans over during the commercial break. Remember, this is your story to tell. Take your time. The red light blinks on, and suddenly we're live to millions of viewers. Renee, your post about feeling excluded because of your birthmark resonated with thousands. Can you tell us what happened? I take a deep breath. I'd rather not focus on specific family details. I begin. What matters is that I spent decades believing I needed to minimize myself to deserve inclusion. I don't mention Madeline by name. I don't describe the wedding invitation or my parents' dismissal. Instead, I speak about living 30 years with a visible difference in a world obsessed with flawlessness. This birthmark doesn't define me, I say, my voice growing stronger. But how people respond to it defines them. When I check my phone afterward, messages flood in, not just from friends, but from strangers. A woman whose burn scars kept her from attending her son's wedding. A teenager with alopecia whose yearbook photo was airbrushed without permission. They all say variations of the same thing. Thank you for speaking up. I thought I was alone. That night, I start a blog. I call it the Picture Perfect Family Myth, and write about the gap between the stories families tell themselves and the painful truths they hide. The myth of the perfect family is perhaps the most dangerous story we tell ourselves, I type. It leaves no room for our authentic selves, only the versions others can tolerate. I write until dawn breaks, the words flowing like a river breaking through a dam. With each paragraph, I feel lighter, cleaner, more myself. Comments appear almost immediately from people sharing their own stories of conditional acceptance. Your words gave me courage to look in the mirror again. Writes someone with facial scarring. I've been hiding my true self from family for decades, admits another. Their vulnerability becomes a mirror, reflecting my own healing journey. 2 days later, Mom texts, "We should talk things through." Sunday dinner? I craft my response deliberately. I need time and space. I'm establishing boundaries now that should have existed long ago. I hope someday we can have an honest relationship, but that requires acknowledging the harm done, not just moving past it. I won't be coming to dinner. I set my phone to silent and place it face down on the coffee table. Since the invitation arrived, my shoulders relax completely. When Emma asks about my Thanksgiving plans, I realize with quiet surprise that I feel no obligation to spend it with relatives who see me as an inconvenience. I'm thinking of hosting a friend's giving, I tell her, for all of us who need a holiday without apologies or conditions. Count me in, she says without hesitation. I hang a new mirror in my entryway larger than the old one, positioned where the morning light hits it directly. Each day, I look at my reflection fully, no angle or shadows to minimize my birthmark. This face me whole, complete face is the one I'm finally ready to show the world. Not just on television or my blog, but in everyday moments where authenticity matters most. I check my lipstick one last time in Aunt Linda's guest bathroom mirror, shade that complements rather than distracts from my birthmark. My therapist, Dr. Chen's voice echoes in my mind. Remember, you're not there to convince them. You're there to speak your truth. 6 months have passed since Madeline's wedding. 6 months of unanswered calls gradually tapering to tense text messages. 6 months of rebuilding myself while they whispered about my absence. Emma waits in the hallway, scrolling through her phone. "Ready?" she asks, squeezing my elbow. I nod, my heart beats steadier than I expected. As I'll ever be. The living room falls silent as we enter. They're arranged like a tribunal, Mom and Dad on the floral love seat, Madeline perched on an armchair, Noah leaning against the fireplace mantel. Aunt Linda hovers near the kitchen doorway, arms crossed. "You brought someone." Mom's voice carries that familiar note of disapproval. "This is a family matter, Renee." Emma is family to me, I reply, the words coming easier than they would have 6 months ago. She stays. Dad clears his throat. This has gone far enough. Your mother hasn't slept properly in months. The Hendersons asked if you were in some kind of institution. We told them you were having a difficult time. Mom interjects, twisting her wedding band. A nervous breakdown. It was kinder than explaining you'd abandon your sister. Abandoned? The word hangs between us. I was never invited to be part of it in the first place. That's not fair, Madeline says, tears already welling. You're twisting everything to make yourself the victim. Do you know what it's like having my wedding remembered as the one where the sister didn't come? You stole my moment. I take a deep breath, feeling the practiced words rise to my lips. I've listened to you my entire life. And that's the problem, Dad interrupts. You've always been too sensitive, making mountains out of molehills. No. The single word silences the room. Even Emma looks surprised at the steel in my voice. The problem is that I spent 30 years believing that love meant making myself smaller, easier to digest, less visible. I pull a small photo album from my bag, opening to a marked page. Here's me at 7, positioned at the back of every family photo. Here's me at 16, makeup caked on my face for Noah's graduation. Here's the Christmas card where I'm turned at an angle to hide my left side. Mom's face crumples. We were protecting you. From what? I ask, setting the album on the coffee table. From feeling like I belonged exactly as I am? Our family has a certain image, Dad says, his jaw tight. The Jenkinses have always prided ourselves on appearances. I finish for him. But at what cost? I don't need your approval to value myself anymore. Madeline stands, pacing now. This isn't just about your birthmark. It's about how you've always needed to be different, to make everything about you. My wedding was supposed to be perfect. Perfect for whom, I ask? Your rejection hurt because I loved you so completely. I believed you when you said, sisters forever. Remember when you told me God gave me an extra brushstroke? What changed, Maddie? The question hangs in the air. Madeline opens her mouth, closes it, then sits back down. Dad pushes himself up from the love seat. I won't sit here and be lectured by my own daughter about family loyalty. His footsteps echo through the hallway, followed by the decisive slam of the front door. Mom's controlled facade finally breaks. She sobs not the performative tears I've seen my whole life, but guttural, genuine cries that bend her forward. Madeline stares at her hands. Jake said it would look awkward in the photos, his mother thought. I shouldn't have listened, but I did. Noah steps away from the mantel, approaching me for the first time. I knew it was wrong, he says quietly. At the wedding, people kept asking where you were. I said you were sick, but I knew. I'm sorry, Renee, I should have said something. You're all sorry now, I say. But would you be if I hadn't walked away? If I'd just shown up and stood where I was told, hidden when asked, like always? Aunt Linda moves from her corner, positioning herself beside me. I've watched this happen for years, she says, her hand finding my shoulder. This family has a history of hiding what we think are imperfections. My sister Darlene, your grandmother's cousin, had a clubfoot. They kept her home from family weddings. My own daughter's learning disability was our family secret until she struggled so much in college that she dropped out. She looks at my mother. I regret not speaking up sooner. The weight of Aunt Linda's words settles across the room. An elder saying, Renee is right, creates a seismic shift I feel in my bones. What happens now? Noah asks. I look around at these people whose blood I share, whose approval I once craved more than oxygen. That depends, I say, on whether any of you are ready to see all of me, not just the parts that fit your perfect picture. I stand before 20 women at the community center, my hands steady as I gesture to the projected image behind me, a photo of my face, birthmark fully visible, smile genuine. The moment I stopped hiding, I tell them, was the moment I started living. They nod. These women with their own visible differences, scars, birthmarks, skin conditions. 2 years after Madeline's wedding, I found my purpose in these workshops. My collection of essays, marked, Finding Beauty in What Makes Us Different, sits on a small table by the door. The journey from rejected sister to published author still feels surreal some days. After the workshop, I walk home through autumn leaves that mirror those from the day I received Madeline's invitation. But today they're crunched beneath my boots, sounds like applause, not judgment. My apartment different now, filled with photographs I've taken of people with visible differences. Their faces radiating joy welcomes me with the scent of the cinnamon candle Emma gave me for my birthday last week. The celebration still warms me. Friends gathered around my dining table, raising glasses to my 32nd year, seeing meal of me without flinching. Dr. Levine says I've made remarkable progress. Family wounds are the deepest, she told me in yesterday's session. Healing from them is a lifelong practice. I settle on my couch and open my laptop to an email from Noah. Unlike Madeline and Dad, my brother has fought his way back into my life with persistent honesty. His messages come weekly now, tentative, but determined bridges across the family divide. I told Dad about your book award yesterday. He didn't say much, but he kept the newspaper clipping. Maybe that's something. I sigh. It's not an apology, but it's more than I expected. Aunt Linda calls to check on me almost daily, her fierce love a bedrock I never knew I needed until my family's foundation crumbled. Mom's letters arrive monthly, written in her perfect penmanship on cream stationery. They rarely mention my birthmark directly, but last week's note included a hesitant question. Would you send me a link to that interview you did about children with birthmarks? It's not understanding. Not yet. But it's reaching. The cream envelope on my coffee table catches my eye another wedding invitation. But nothing like Madeline's. It's from my college roommate Sophia, with a handwritten note tucked inside. You'll be photographed exactly as you are, beautifully you. 5th bridesmaid from the left, please and thank you. I've already checked will attend without hesitation. The contrast isn't lost on me how different it feels to be wanted exactly as I am. Last night, after dinner with Marcus, he kissed me for the first time. His fingers traced the edge of my birthmark with a reverence that made my breath catch. I've wanted to do that since we met, he whispered. The possibility of being loved completely unfolds before me like a map to a country I never thought I'd visit. I placed Sophia's invitation next to a photograph taken at Emma's sister's wedding last month. There I am, standing in the bridal party, birthmark visible, smile radiant. You're perfect just as you are, the photographer had said, not as a reassurance but as a simple fact. The peace I felt in that moment returns now as I touch the photograph. I don't need to be airbrushed into perfection. I don't need to be tolerated or accommodated. You're perfect just as you are, the photographer had said, the words floating around me as the camera clicked. Not a reassurance or empty platitude, simple, undeniable fact. My phone buzzes with a notification. Another registration for next month's workshop. The community I've built extends beyond this City Now and online forum where people share their stories of visible differences, celebrating rather than hiding. Last week, a mother in Australia messaged me about how my essays helped her daughter embrace her facial scar. I smile at the thought. 2 years ago, I could barely meet my own eyes in the mirror. Now I stand before crowds, lead discussions, challenge perceptions. The confidence fills into every corner of my life. The promotion at work, the TED Talk invitation, the morning runs through the park with my head held high. I just need to be me that was always waiting beneath the shame others placed upon me, the me that emerged when I finally chose myself. What does true acceptance mean to you? Is it found in blood family, chosen connections, or within yourself? I discovered it begins with self-love, with standing firmly in your own skin marked or noted, recognizing your inherent worthiness of being seen. I grip the armrests of the leather chair in Mr. Calloway's law office, my knuckles white against the deep burgundy. The mahogany conference table stretches between us like a moat. Across from me, Monica adjusts her pearl necklace, Dad's last birthday gift, to her while Grant leans forward, elbows on the table, a vulture ready to claim his prize. The air conditioning hums too loudly in the silence. Outside, April sunshine streams through floor-to-ceiling windows, mocking the chill that settled in my chest since Dad's funeral 3 days ago. Mr. Calloway clears his throat, shuffling papers with hands that suddenly seem uncertain. His eyes meet mine, then dart away. "Shall we begin?" he asks, not waiting for an answer. "The last will and testament of Robert James Rhodes, dated the 15th of January of this year. 6 months ago. 6 months since I last saw the will that named me as successor to Rhodes Corp., the company Dad built from nothing into an empire. The company he promised would be my inheritance, since I was old enough to understand what legacy meant." I catch Mr. Calloway's slight grimace as he turns the page. Something's wrong. "To my wife, Monica Rhodes, I leave all shares and controlling interest in Rhodes Corporation, including my position as Chief Executive Officer and Chairman of the Board." The words hit like physical blows. Monica's lips curve upward, that practiced smile that never reaches her eyes. My stomach twists. Additionally, to Monica, I leave our primary residence at 1842 Lakeside Drive, the vacation properties in Aspen and Maui, and all assets contained therein. Each word pulls the floor from beneath me. This isn't right. This isn't Dad. To my stepson, Grant Winters, I leave the following real estate holdings: the commercial properties at 5th and Main, the apartment complex on Westwood Boulevard, my collection of classic automobiles, and the sum of $5 million. Grant's fingers drum against the table, a rapid tattoo of triumph he can barely contain. His eyes glitter with unconcealed greed. Mr. Calloway pauses, taking a sip of water. I recognize the stalling tactic. How many depositions have I sat through as a corporate attorney? He's dreading what comes next. "And to my daughter, Elizabeth Catherine Rhodes?" The pause stretches, painful and deliberate. Monica's smile widens. "I leave this key, held in trust by my attorney, along with this message. If something ever happens to me, hold on to this. You'll know what to do." Mr. Calloway slides a small envelope across the table. Inside rests a single keyhold, rusted at the edges, utterly unremarkable. "That's it?" The words escape before I can stop them. "That's all?" Mr. Calloway won't meet my eyes. "That's all that was specified in the will, Miss Rhodes." My hands tremble as I pick up the key. It's cool against my palm, surprisingly heavy for something so small. So worthless. "This is ridiculous," I say, memories flooding back. "We had lunch at Bellini's 6 weeks before then. He told me he was updating his succession plan at Rhodes Corp to ensure a smooth transition when I took over." Monica's laugh flutters across the table. "Oh, Eliza." Robert changed his mind. He finally recognized who truly supported him all these years. She reaches for Grant's hand. Who was truly loyal? 2 weeks after that lunch, Dad had called me, voice tight with worry. "Lizzie, I need to show you something. Not over the phone. Some things need to be kept safe." We'd planned to meet that weekend. The accident happened on Thursday. "Mr. Calloway," I say, struggling to keep my voice level, "did you witness my father signing this will?" His hesitation tells me everything. "I supervised the proper execution of the document, yes." Not a direct answer. Interesting. This doesn't make sense. I close my fingers around the key. Dad built Rhodes Corp over 40 years. He wouldn't just hand it over to family? Monica interrupts. "You've been so busy with your own career, Eliza. When was the last time you even attended a company function?" Meanwhile, Grant and I have been by Robert's side through everything. Grant snickers. The forgotten heir, clinging to scraps. How pathetic. I bite my tongue until I taste copper. The temperature in the room seems to drop further as Mr. Calloway gathers his papers, clearly eager to end this meeting. "Unless there are questions about the technical aspects of the will," he begins. "I have several," I say, but Monica stands, smoothing her black dress. "We'll have our team review everything, James," she says to Mr. Calloway. "Now, Grant and I need to meet with the board. So much restructuring to do." As they gather their things, Grant leans toward Monica, his voice a whisper he doesn't bother to conceal. "That was easier than we expected." The receptionist's eyes follow me as I walk out alone. her expression a mixture of pity and curiosity. In the parking garage, I sit in my car, the engine off, staring at the key in my palm. "Trust your instincts, Lizzie," Dad used to say. It was his mantra, repeated throughout my childhood, through college, through law school. I close my fingers around the key, feeling its teeth bite into my skin. Something is very wrong here, and whatever he opens, I intend to find out. The coffee at Mabel's diner has gone cold. I've been pushing the same scrambled eggs around my plate for 15 minutes while Sam Winters types on his laptop. His fingers move with practiced precision, much like they did when we were study partners at Yale. Back then, he was the tech genius who saved my term papers from digital oblivion. Now he's a cybersecurity engineer who might help me prove my father was murdered. "You barely touched your breakfast," Sam says without looking up from his screen. The fluorescent lights cast shadows under his eyes, evidence of late nights spent digging through data. "I'm not here for the food." I tap my father's key against the Formica tabletop. "I know." Sam closes his laptop, finally meeting my gaze. "You're here because I mentioned the financial irregularities at Rhodes Corp last week at the funeral reception, and you've been thinking about it ever since." My hand stills. "What exactly did you see?" Sam glances around the nearly empty diner, then leans forward. "Large transfers initiated 2 days after your father's death. Old accounts closed. New accounts opened in offshore jurisdictions." His voice drops lower. "Look, there's something else. Your father consulted me about secure storage options 3 months ago." He seemed worried. The key feels suddenly heavier in my palm. Did he say why? He said he needed a place where certain information would be safe if something happened to him. Sam's eyes flicked to the key. Specifically, he asked about old-fashioned security things that couldn't be hacked. 6 hours later, we're standing in front of a storage unit in an industrial park on the outskirts of town. The facility is the kind that time forgot: concrete buildings with metal roll-up doors, no digital surveillance, just a bored attendant who barely looked up from his magazine when we signed in. "Unit 378, I say, checking the faded numbers against the address in Sam's notes. The lock is ancient, rusted at the edges. My hand trembles as I slide the key in, hearing the tumblers click. The sound echoes in the silent corridor. Inside, dust motes dance in the beam of Sam's flashlight. The unit is mostly empty except for a few boxes labeled tax records and an antique wooden chest in the center. "That looks promising," Sam whispers. The chest's brass lock gleams, incongruously new compared to its weathered wood. My key fits perfectly. Inside, beneath a stack of old photographs of my father and mother, sits a small black safe. "Great," I mutter. "Another lock without a key." "Not a key," Sam says, pointing to a digital keypad. "A code." I stare at the 6 empty spaces blinking expectantly on the display. 6 digits. A date? A phone number? "Your father must have told you something," Sam says, his voice gentle. "Something only you would understand." My mind races through birthdays, anniversaries, addresses nothing fits. Then I remember the last birthday gift my father gave my mother before her illness: pearl earrings to match a necklace. The gift card simply read, 111,378. "The 13th of November, 1978, I whisper. "The day Mom got a tiny E tattooed on her wrist. She kept it hidden from everyone except Dad and me." I punch in 111,378. The safe clicks open. "Eliza," Sam breathes. "Look." Inside lies a stack of documents. The top page reads, "Last Will and Testament of Robert James Rhodes, dated just 3 weeks before his death." My eyes scan quick key paragraph. "To my daughter, Elizabeth Catherine Rhodes, I leave all shares and controlling interest in Rhodes Corporation, including my position as Chief Executive Officer and Chairman of the Board." This is his real will, I whisper. This is what he wanted. But that's not all. Beneath it, Financial records detailed systematic embezzlement from company accounts, all linked to Monica. Email printouts showed Grant threatening the company's legal counsel. Make it happen or your family's medical history becomes public knowledge. Most damning of all, a small digital recorder. I press play with unsteady fingers, hearing my father's voice crack through the static. Tampering with the brakes. Check. Monica told the driver something. The recording breaks, corrupted. My God, Sam says, his face pale in the dim light. Eliza, this isn't just about the will. This is murder, I finish, my voice hollow. They killed him for the company. The final item in the safe stops my heart. Photographs showing Monica meeting with a man in coveralls behind a service station. The timestamp. 2 days before my father's fatal accident. I know that place, Sam says, studying the image. It's the garage where your father's cars rest. My phone vibrates, a text from Clara, Dad's executive assistant. Monica firing everyone loyal to your father. Board meeting called for tomorrow to dissolve the charitable foundation. I look up at Sam, resolve hardening within me. I need that audio file recovered. Every word. Sam nods grimly. I know someone who can help. But Eliza, if they find out what you've discovered. They already tried to erase my father, I say, gathering the evidence with careful hands. Now they're trying to erase his legacy. I won't let them. As we lock the storage unit, the facility manager approaches. Miss Rhodes? I thought it was you. Your stepmother was here yesterday, looking mighty interested in these units. Asked all kinds of questions about who had access. My blood chills. Did she get in? He shakes his head. Without the key? No way, but she seemed indetermined. Back in my car, I find a letter tucked under my windshield wiper. Legal letterhead, Monica's lawyers. Cease and desist all defamatory insinuations regarding Monica Rhodes or face immediate legal action. Sam takes the letter, his face grim. They're scared. They should be, I say, clutching the evidence against my chest. The truth about my father's death burns in my hands, each document a match waiting to ignite justice. When your family betrayers hold all the power, money, and influence, how do you fight back? I've found the first pieces of a puzzle, but will uncovering the truth put me in the same danger that claimed my father's life? My phone chirps with yet another news alert. Monica Rhodes continues husband's legacy. I switch it off and toss it onto the passenger seat. Through the windshield, rain streaks down in gray sheets, matching my mood. 3 television interviews this week alone, Monica wearing Dad's favorite sapphire tie pin, speaking about our vision for Rhodes Corp, as if she'd helped build it from the ground up. The wipers thump a steady rhythm as I pull into Sam's apartment complex. His text came at 5 a.m. Found something. Come now. Sam's eyes are bloodshot when he opens the door. His apartment a fortress of empty coffee cups and humming computer equipment. You look terrible, I tell him. Says the woman being sued for emotional distress by her own stepbrother. He gestures to a chair beside his desk. Grant filed yesterday. His lawyers want your financials by Friday. Let them look. I hang my wet coat on the back of the chair. I've got nothing to hide. Sam taps at his keyboard. Well, they've got plenty. I recovered these emails between Monica and West Valley Auto Service. The screen fills with messages, dates highlighted in yellow. She specifically requested maintenance on your father's car 3 days before the accident. My stomach tightens. Dad's vehicle was on a regular schedule. Monthly checks. This wasn't scheduled. Sam points to another email. She insisted on that specific day, even offered to pay extra to bump another client. The rain drums harder against the windows as I read through the exchanges. Find anything else? Someone searched your apartment yesterday. My head snaps up. What? I installed those security sensors like we discussed. Motion detection triggered at 2:17 p.m. Whoever it was knew what they were doing in and out in 12 minutes. A chill runs through me that has nothing to do with my damp clothes. Did you get footage? Just shadows, professional job. He hands me a thumb drive. All your evidence is backed up here. Keep it with you. Dad's former driver, Raymond, lives in a small apartment over a convenience store downtown. When I knock, the door opens just wide enough for his weathered face to peer through the chain. Miss Rhodes? Recognition softens his features. Should have called first. Place is a mess. I'm not here to judge your housekeeping, Ray. Inside, cardboard boxes line the walls. A half-packed suitcase sits open on the coffee table. Going somewhere? I ask. Arizona. My sister's place. He gestures vaguely. Nothing left for me here since. His voice trails off. Since Monica fired you after 23 years of service? Ray's shoulders sag as he sinks into a worn armchair. Your father was a good man. Fair. Treated me like family. I sit across from him, leaning forward. I need to know about the maintenance on Dad's car. His eyes dart to the window before meeting mine. What about it? Was it routine? A muscle twitches in his jaw. No, ma'am, Miss Monica insisted. Said Mr. Rhodes requested it specifically. His fingers drum against the armrest. But he never mentioned it to me, and I drove him every day. Did anything seem off about the car before the accident? Ray rubs his hand across his mouth. Night before, I could swear I heard someone in the garage, thought it was the wind. He looks directly at me now. Next morning, brake pedal felt different. Mentioned it to Mr. Rhodes. What did he say? Said he'd have it checked after his meeting. Ray's voice cracks. Never made it that far. The Pine Grove Auto Shop sits just off the highway, a cinder block building with faded red letters. Inside smells of motor oil and desperation. The mechanic Marcus, according to Sam's research, flinches when I say my name. He's younger than I expected, maybe 30, with grease-stained hands that won't stop moving. I'm not talking about Robert Rhodes, he says, wiping his palms on a rag. That case is closed. My father trusted people, Marcus. I placed Dad's photo on the workbench between us. That trust killed him. His eyes flicker to the photo, then away. Look, lady, I just do the work that comes in. I don't ask questions. Monica told you it was just to scare him, didn't she? Just enough to make him reconsider the will. Marcus drops the rag, color draining from his face. Who says I did anything? The bank record showing Grant paid you $20,000 in cash the day after the funeral. The silence stretches between us, broken only by the tick-tick-tick of a wall clock. She said he wouldn't get hurt. His voice comes out barely above a whisper, just a small adjustment to the brake system. Enough to give him a scare, make him pull over. Marcus runs a shaking hand through his hair. I never meant for anyone to die. But you disabled the safety system anyway. His shoulders slump in defeat. Yes. At the precinct, Detective Rivera studies the garage surveillance footage Sam recovered. On screen, Monica leans into Marcus's face, finger jabbing his chest. She's threatening him, Rivera says, pausing the video. Clear as day. There's more. I slide Grant's email across the desk. From the company tech team. Rivera reads aloud. Make sure the 14th goes smoothly. The sooner he's out, the sooner it's ours. He raises an eyebrow. Sent 2 days before your father's accident. Check the timestamp. 3 minutes after Monica left a board meeting where Dad announced he was finalizing his succession plan. Rivera adds the email to his growing file. We've confirmed the cash payments to Marcus came from your stepbrother's personal account. 5 withdrawals, $4,000 each. In the audio file? He pushes a button on his computer. Dad's voice fills the room, clear and strong. Monica has tampered with my will. Check the brakes. Monica told the driver something was wrong with the car already. My throat tightens as his words fade into silence. Rain has stopped by the time I reach the cemetery. Late afternoon sun breaks through clouds, casting long shadows across Dad's headstone. I place fresh flowers beside his name, brushing away fallen leaves. They thought they erased you, I whisper, tracing the engraved letters. They thought they erased me. The marble feels cool under my fingertips. They were wrong. My phone vibrates. Detective Rivera's number. Miss Rhodes. His voice carries a note of satisfaction I haven't heard before. We're reopening the case. I need you at the station tomorrow morning to make a formal statement. I look at Dad's headstone one last time before turning toward the car. I'll be there. A breeze stirs the flowers I've placed, scattering petals across the grave. Something has shifted inside me, around me. I am no longer just Robert Rhodes's grieving daughter. I am his reckoning. I switch off the television, my fingers white-knuckled around the remote. Monica's face disappears from the screen, but her words echo in my empty apartment. We're concerned about Elizabeth's mental state following her father's tragic passing. She told the reporters, her pearl necklace gleaming under the lights. Grief can manifest in disturbing ways, including paranoid accusations against family members who only want to help her heal. The press conference played exactly as I predicted. Monica, the concerned stepmother, me, the unstable daughter consumed by grief and jealousy. Grant stood behind her, his face a mask of practiced concern, nodding at all the right moments. My phone buzzes. Sam. Saw the press conference, he says when I answer. She's getting desperate. Desperate people are dangerous. I move to the window, scanning the street below for the black sedan I've spotted 3 times this week. Did you make the copies? Distributed to 5 separate people, just like we discussed, even if they find one set. They won't find them all, I finish. The weight in my chest eases slightly. The doorbell rings. My pulse spikes. I'll call you back, I whisper, ending the call. Through the peephole, a courier shifts impatiently, envelope in hand. When I open the door, he barely makes eye contact before thrusting the delivery at me. Inside the envelope, a temporary restraining order. Monica's attorney has convinced a judge that my erratic behavior and unfounded accusations constitute harassment. I'm barred from coming within 200 feet of Rhodes Corp. Property, my father's life's work, now forbidden territory. My phone rings again. Detective Ramirez. Miss Rhodes, he says, his voice low and steady. Got something. The mechanics working with us found inconsistencies in the original crash report. The brake line wasn't just damaged, it was precisely cut to fail gradually rather than immediately. My throat tightens. You're saying it wouldn't have failed right away. It was designed to get your father far enough from the service center that nobody would make the connection. I sink into the nearest chair. Do you have enough to bring Monica in? Getting there. His voice drops further. Someone offered me money yesterday. A lot of money. Monica? Through an intermediary. I recorded it. The doorbell rings again. This time, my neighbor Carol stands there, concern etched across her face. There's some men in suits downstairs asking about you, she says, glancing over her shoulder. They don't look like the friendly type. I thank her, lock the door, and slide the chain across. My hands shake less than they would have a week ago. The burner phone, Sam insisted I carry, rings from my desk drawer. Eliza, it's Mark. My father's assistant, speaking barely above a whisper. You need to know 4 board members reached out to me separately today. They're questioning Monica's leadership. The Richardson merger she pushed through, it's falling apart. The financials don't add up. Hope flutters in my chest like a captive bird. Are they willing to go on record? Not yet, but they're asking questions they weren't asking before. After we hang up, I retrieve my laptop from beneath the loose floorboard in my bedroom closet. Sam's encryption software hums to life. A new email from James Calloway, my father's attorney, marked urgent. Miss Rhodes, it begins. I can no longer maintain my silence regarding the will. The signature. I had doubts at the time, but Monica insisted your father had been drinking. Now, comparing it to earlier documents, I'm certain it was forged. I should have spoken up sooner. I'm prepared to testify. The wall around me weakens. One more brick falls. My secure messaging app pings. Sam again, his words sending electricity through my veins. Found deleted security footage. Rhodes' home office. Night before accident. Monica was there. 2 a.m. at your father's desk. I press my fist against my mouth to hold back a sob. Then my regular phone rings. Detective Ramirez again. Miss Rhodes, he says. We have enough. Be at the station tomorrow morning at 9. We're bringing them both in. I stand at my window, watching darkness settle over the city. The same darkness that swallowed my father. The darkness Monica and Grant thought would swallow me. Tomorrow, I whisper to my reflection, everything changes. The rusty Kimi's seemingly worthless inheritance catches the last light of day from its place beside my laptop. Not worthless after all. The key that unlocked everything. In my pocket, the small voice recorder holds every threat, every lie, every moment of their undoing. Monica built her house of cards on quicksand. Tomorrow, the ground shifts. My phone rings at 6:17 a.m. Monica's name flashes on the screen. I let it ring twice more, steeling myself before answering. Eliza, please. Her voice quavers, a tremolo I've never heard before. Emily, we can work this out privately. I watched dawn break through my kitchen window, the same sunrise Dad would have seen from his office on mornings when he arrived early. Family doesn't murder family, Monica. Think about what your father would want, she whispers. All this public spectacle, dragging his name through. I hang up. 4 more calls come before I leave for the courthouse. Grant's lawyer offering $7 million to put this misunderstanding behind us. Monica's attorney suggesting that pursuing charges will only damage your father's legacy. Then Richard. Harmon, Dad's golf partner for 20 years, with Monica's plea to reconsider. I slip my father's class ring onto my thumb too large, but its weight grounds me and drive downtown. The prosecutor meets me outside courtroom C, her burgundy suit sharp against the worn marble walls. They'll try to paint you as vengeful, she warns, passing me a bottle of water. Remember, short answers, let the evidence speak. I nod, watching Monica and Grant enter through the opposite door. Monica wears navy blue somber, respectful, the grieving widow still. Grant's tie matches her outfit perfectly. Always coordinated, these two. Always performing. My hands don't shake anymore when I see them. Progress. The judge enters, a woman in her 60s with silver-streaked dark hair and reading glasses that magnify her alert eyes. Court is called to session, and suddenly it's my turn to speak. I approach the stand, place my hand on the Bible, and make my promise to tell the truth. The wooden chair creaks as I sit. From here, I can see the whole tableau: Monica and Grant at the defense table, Sam and Detective Reeves in the gallery, the jury of strangers who will decide if justice exists. Miss Rhodes, the prosecutor begins, please tell the court about your father. I meet Monica's eyes for just a moment. She looks confident still. My father built Rhodes Corporation from his garage. He employed over 2,000 people by the time he died. He donated 30% of his annual income to education foundations. I take a breath. He was killed because my stepmother and stepbrother wanted control of his company. The defense attorney leaps up. Objection. Sustained, the judge says. The witness will stick to facts, not conclusions. I nod. My father called me 6 days before his death. He believed someone had accessed his personal files. 3 days before he died, he left a key in his attorney's keeping specifically for me. I describe finding the storage unit, the real will, the evidence. My voice stays level. The jury leans forward as a unit when I mention the mechanic's testimony. And what did your investigation reveal about your father's vehicle? The prosecutor asks. The brake lines were manually compromised. My stomach turns at the memory of the forensics photos. The failure was deliberate, not an accident. The prosecutor nods, pulling out a thin folder. Your Honor, I'd like to enter into evidence Exhibit 29, the forensic analysis of Robert Rhodes' vehicle. She walks the report to the judge, then plays the audio recording we recovered from the garage's security system. Monica's voice fills the courtroom. Make it look natural. A failure, not sabotage. I need this problem gone. Monica's face drains of color. Grant stares at his hands. The prosecutor methodically builds the case: the forged will compared to the original draft, financial records showing money transfers from Monica's account to the mechanics the day after Dad's funeral, emails between Grant and Monica discussing acceleration of the succession plan. When the defense attorney cross-examines me, he hammers on my convenient discovery of evidence, suggesting I planted it out of jealousy. You were estranged from your father, weren't you? He demands. No, we had lunch every month. He called me weekly. Yet he left you only a key in his will, the alleged forged will. An odd choice for a beloved daughter. I look him straight in the eyes. My father knew someone might try to erase me. The key ensured they couldn't. By afternoon, Monica's composure cracks. When the judge denies their motion to dismiss, she whispers frantically to her attorney, her manicured nails digging into his sleeve. Grant begins distancing himself, his testimony throwing subtle blame toward Monica. I only followed her lead, he repeats, eyes darting toward the exit as if planning an escape. The prosecutor's closing argument is devastating. This was not impulsive. This was calculated. Robert Rhodes was murdered by the two people he most trusted, who then attempted to steal his life's work and disinherit his only child. When the verdict comes, the courtroom falls silent. Guilty on all counts: murder, conspiracy, fraud, embezzlement. The judge's commentary cuts like a scalpel. The cold-blooded nature of this crime shows a depravity that demands the maximum sentence. You killed a husband and father for personal gain, then weaponized his company against his daughter. Justice demands accountability. Monica sobs now, genuine tears at last. Grant turns ashen as deputies approach with handcuffs. I stand when it's done, smoothing my skirt. Outside the courtroom, reporters cluster like gulls, shouting questions. The board chairman of Rhodes Corp approaches through the chaos, extending his hand. The board has called an emergency meeting, he says. We vote tomorrow to reinstate you as CEO. I nod, watching as Monica is led down the corridor toward processing. Our eyes meet for just a second. I see the moment she realizes her mistake. She thought my father's death would be her freedom. She never understood I am my father's daughter in every way that matters. She pauses, deputies at her elbows. I step closer. He trusted you, I say quietly, and so did I. Her chin trembles once before the mask returns. The deputies guide her forward. From her personal belongings cart, I spot my father's company badge. The clerk nods permission as I pick it up, cool and heavy in my palm. I slip it into my pocket, right next to the key that started everything. I stand at the floor-to-ceiling windows of what was once my father's office, now mine. The afternoon sun casts long shadows across the Rhodes Corp headquarters, a skyline my father built from nothing. The leather chair behind the desk still holds a phantom impression of him. Miss Rhodes? My father's no, my executive assistant knocks softly. The board members are assembled. Thank you, Diane. I straighten my blazer, fingers automatically finding the pearl earrings that were my mother's. The boardroom falls silent as I enter. These men and women who once looked through me now rise in respect. The gavel feels right in my hand as I call the meeting to order. Today we implement the Rhodes Transparency Initiative, I announce, sliding folders across the polished mahogany. Every charitable donation, every financial decision, every corporate partnership will have complete oversight. What happened under Monica's brief tenure will never happen again. Heads nod. Some look uncomfortable good. Comfort breeds complacency, and complacency killed my father. Additionally, I continue, Rhodes Corp will establish the Catherine Rhodes Foundation for Women in Business with an initial endowment of $10 million. I don't mention that this was in Dad's real will, the one Monica tried to destroy. Some truths belong just to me. The storage unit smells of dust and old paper. Sam helps me box the last of Dad's hidden files, his hands careful with each folder. Over these months, his technical expertise evolved into something I never expected: friendship. Maybe more, though neither of us rushed to define it. Last box, he says, closing the cardboard flaps. Wait. Something catches my eye behind an empty shelf of photo album I missed before. The leather cover cracks as I open it. There's Dad, young and grinning, holding infant me on his shoulders. Mom beside him, laughing at something off camera. My throat tightens. Trust your instincts, Lizzie, I whisper, echoing his words. Those instincts guide me now in boardrooms, in decisions about the company's future. I've kept his vision but implemented my own. Yesterday, I shut down an acquisition that would have been profitable but ethically questionable. The old board would have pushed it through. The new Wanami board voted unanimously to table it. Ready? Sam asks, gentle with my silence. I nod, tucking the album under my arm. Ready. The ceremony is small but meaningful. Detective Rivera accepts his long overdue promotion with quiet dignity. Without his determination to reopen the case when everyone warned him against crossing Monica, justice might never have come. Rhodes Corp is pleased to announce Sam Wilson as our new Director of Information Security. I say into the microphone, catching his surprised smile. We discussed the position, but he didn't know I'd announce it today. Diane receives a standing ovation when I welcome her back to her position as Executive Assistant to the CEO. The tears in her eyes match my own. My father valued loyalty above all else, I tell the small gathering. Each of you exemplified that when it mattered most. Later, in my office, I watch the evening news report with the sound muted. Monica's face a Pearshire prison sentence of life without parole confirmed on appeal. Grant's 8-year sentence seems light by comparison, but his permanent ban from any involvement with Rhodes Corp offers some consolation. The mechanic received reduced time for his cooperation. Sometimes justice requires compromise. The Ethics in Business Award trophy glints in the display case, the first annual Robert Rhodes Memorial Recognition. Beside it, press coverage of our new corporate transparency standards. 3 other companies have already adopted our framework. A reporter asked yesterday if this was all about revenge. This was never about revenge, I told her, my father's words in my mouth. It was about truth. As sunset paints the city gold, I hold Dad's paperweight, a simple sphere of glass with a single air bubble suspended inside. Perfectly imperfect, he used to call it. The rusty key hangs framed on the wall, mounted on blue velvet with a small silver plaque. I thought I had nothing. Turns out I had everything. The company's spires cast long shadows as day fades to evening. In the window glass, I see my reflection, the vulnerability I once fought to hide, now balanced with a strength I never knew I possessed. We did it, Dad, I whisper, watching the last light catch the key. We did it.